That's a hurricane hitting New York City. So can you tell us how likely it is that a hurricane would hit the city?
Well, you know, every 70 years to 90 years, a major hurricane has hit New York City. We're coming up on that 70th anniversary next year. The last time a Category 3 storm hit here was in 1938. The storm was called the Long Island Express, and it had winds of 150, 155 miles per hour. It passed over Nassau County on Long Island. It caused 700 deaths. So at that time, there was only 200,000 residents on Long Island. Today, there's nearly 3 million. So in a Category 3 storm, quite different when it comes into the Northeast than it is in the southern United States. You're familiar that they move very slowly, 7 to 14 miles per hour. A northeastern storm, much different. It races at 40 to 45 miles per hour into the Northeast. Because of our landmass, we have a right angle landmass, Long Island going from west to east, the Jersey Shore, the New York City harbor area. That water has no place to go in a hurricane that moves counterclockwise coming into the South Shore of Long Island. So really a Category 2 storm in the Gulf or the Southeast becomes a 3 in the Northeast. A Category 3 becomes a number 4 in terms of storm surge. So when a storm is coming up from south to north, the first places that are impacted is going to be Lower Manhattan, it's going to be the Battery, it's going to be Coney Island, it's going to be Brighton Beach, it's going to be Roosevelt Beach. All those areas are going to see a wall of water 22 feet high. That wall of water completely covers the coastline of the South Shore of Long Island. So as it passes over the Battery in Lower Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, that 22 feet of water goes right over the Battery and continues right across Battery Park all the way up to City Hall. So 22 feet of water covers Governor's Island. It comes up to the very bottom of the Statue of Liberty. It covers the pedestal up to the bottom of the Statue of Liberty. That's a lot of water. Now on the South Shore of Long Island, that completely covers Fire Island, comes inland, comes into Jamaica Bay, and that water covers the very top of the terminals at JFK Airport.
So if a hurricane hits, we're here in Midtown Manhattan, the best thing I could do would be to get on a subway, right?
Subway in a hurricane, worst place to go. And I think that's a perception that many people do not realize because of lack of experience with a storm of this type. First place that's going to be inundated with salt water is going to be the tunnels and it's going to be the subways, particularly in the Lower Manhattan from Wall Street, Bowling Green, up the east side, past the South Street Seaport, up the west side, past where the World Trade Center location is. You go up past Chambers Street, all those areas to the Holland Tunnel will be flooded with salt water. That totally wipes out the capability of your subway system. If you look at the major infrastructure of the city, all of this lies on the coast. Take a look at the coast and what is there. Power plants, airports, subways, tunnels, wastewater treatment plants, your drinking water facilities. All that lies right on or at the coast. What people do not realize around the country is New York City is a coastal community.
So we've talked about Lower Manhattan. What about Northern Manhattan? Are you safe if you're up in Harlem along the East River set?
Hurricanes move counterclockwise, so the city is not only flooded from the south, but as it pushes into Connecticut, the Harlem River, the East River, all will flood Northern Manhattan. So Harlem and all that area up the east side is going to be flooded. The FDR Drive is going to be totally inundated with water that will pour into the Upper East Side. So not only does the storm flood the city from the south, as it moves northward, it will flood the city from the north. It will flood Brooklyn from the north, it will flood Upper Manhattan from the north, and even the Upper West Side is going to see some flooding from the Hudson River. The second problem that you will have is freshwater flooding, because a storm of this nature is going to produce at least 10 inches of rain.
And you can already see where heavy waves have damaged the containment boom behind me in the Gulf of Mexico. Now, forecasters say this weather system is expected to last until Thursday. Only then will crews be able to get back out on the beaches and back out in the sea to try to clean up and contain the oil again.
Take a look at what's happening with weather conditions around the nation. We start with the high temperatures for today. It is going to be a warm one in the south, but these temperatures are pretty much seasonable for most of the nation. 70s in the upper Midwest. We'll see some 80s throughout much of the U.S. Desert Southwest, of course, over 100 degrees again. Take a look at the highlights for today. New York City, beautiful day here. 80 degrees today. St. Louis, 83. Albuquerque, you're looking at 87. San Diego, a pleasant 74. Where will we see rain? We'll see some scattered showers in portions of the west. Most of the west will be dry. Look for possible flooding in southern Texas, central and southern Florida, where the rain will be heavy.
Let's check your weather, see what's going on. For today, we've got a lot of cool weather in the northern states. We've got some hot weather continuing in the southwest and 80s as you get into the southeast with a lot of rain, up to 7 inches of rain in parts of Florida. Partly sunny in the Pacific Northwest, Seattle today. Sunshine and 75. Sunny in the northeast and low humidity.
Open your mind. Open your mind.
Wanting to follow those up into the upper atmosphere, so I went looking for weather images, satellite images, and I came upon this image. And I went, wait a minute, you know, what is this doing there? If you notice, just to the left of this hurricane, you see Cape Cod. And you notice a little bit further to the left, there's Long Island. So this thing was right off the end of Long Island, and the outer bands of the hurricane were right over Cape Cod.
And this is, Cape Cod is Massachusetts, isn't it? So it's just north of New York.
Yes, north and east. But you can see the outer cloud bands right on the tip of Long Island.
What's the connection with Hurricane Erin and what happened on 9/11, apart from it's very weird that nobody seems to talk about it and no one seems to know it was happening? What is the connection?
Again, I just look at evidence and see where the evidence falls. And you recall that I saw a lot of similarities, well, a one-to-one correlation with the evidence in New York City with the same thing with the Hutchison effect.
Let's look at the next image then. Can we? Then 97.
Okay.
Here we go. This is the early morning weather forecast on 9/11 on CBS. And you know, your text there says, "Where is Erin?" It does seem extraordinary that there's no mention of the hurricane.
At least they say rough seas. ABC did not even say anything about rough seas or anything. The weather couldn't be better.
It's very. I mean, I was in New York once, actually in a hurricane that hit New York, and they evacuated downtown. They actually evacuated the World Trade Center, and there was no vehicles on the road at all, apart from a few very brave cabs and police cars and fire engines. Nobody else, and things were falling off buildings. The whole front of a theater came off in Times Square when I was there, which was pretty scary.
And notice it's not. The concern wouldn't be that Hurricane Erin was going to move over on top of Manhattan, but if it stalled out where it is, you have storm surges, and Manhattan is at sea level.
Okay, let's have a look at the next one as well, 98. And here's another one with no mention of the hurricane, which we've seen in that picture, and that satellite picture was...
I just point out with that image, there are some circles that I put on there.
That's your circle?
Where it should be, yes. That wasn't on the original picture.
Okay, you've put that on there.
Yeah, that's where it should have been.
It shows that patch of the ocean where the hurricane is, the patch of the ocean was visible in this map, but they chose not to put the hurricane icon on the map.
Oh, because they talk about hurricanes all the time when they happen, don't they? Let's look at the next one. Let's look at 99. Here we go. This is a satellite image of... It looks like a big hurricane to me. I don't know. I mean, I'm not much of an expert on hurricanes, but... Andrew?
And it covers the whole eastern seaboard.
Yes, and I mean, we have got a clip, not in the programme, but taken from the International Space Station, where Frank Culbertson is describing the scene, actually, of the, fumes rising from the remains of the Twin Towers. And then he says, I'm looking up and down the East Coast to see if I can see anything else. And he doesn't even mention the hurricane, even though it must be well within his camera shot, because it's only, a few degrees off the actual shot he's looking at.
All right, let's look at number 99. No, sorry, that is not. Let's look at 100, please. Judy, do you want to talk about this path of the hurricane?
The hurricane aimed for 4 days directly towards New York City. Is
that long diagonal line?
Right. It passed Bermuda and it revved up to a Category 3. That's the orange patch, the orange zone. And at 8 a.m., it was the closest New York City, and it stopped, like it pulled up to a chalk line, turned around, and kind of made a U-turn, 110-degree turn, and went east out of town that afternoon.
Open your mind.